Hey there, I am back with another deck review. Today I'm going to be looking at Contraband from Theory11. This stunning deck is inspired by conspiracy theories, secret societies, and basically all things mystery. And if you saw my video looking at my top 5 Theory11 decks, you'll know that this was the one that I actually chose as my #1 deck. So take a look at that video to see the rest of my top 5, but wanted to give a little bit of extra time looking at the one that came out on top. This is designed by Joe White over at Olde Studios. Not the only time that they worked with Theory11, they actually also collaborated together to bring the High Victorian cards, another really beautiful deck if you haven't taken a look at that. And then Olde Studios has gone on their own with a Kickstarter deck and done the Three Little Pigs deck. You can check out that deck on my channel as well. But we're here to look at Contraband, so let's take a look at it, starting with the absolutely beautiful tuck case. Now, this is always a highlight of Theory11 decks, but they've really outdone themselves with the level of luxury and detail that went into this one. So it's a dark gray matte finish tuck case, and it is absolutely covered with foiling and embossing all the way around. Primarily this gold foil, but then also little accents of black foil and then the brighter white here in the center. So in the middle, you've got Contraband written in a really fancy calligraphy with lots of different swirls and extra patterns around it. And then it's sort of surrounded by these concentric or parallel lines that are outlining it here in black foil. So you've got that white and then the black foil on the gray background. Really beautiful contrast. It says high quality playing cards at the top. United States Playing Card Company, established 1887. And then designed in the United Kingdom, London, where Olde Studio is based, and then made in the United States of America. And then you just have tons of detail with the gold foiling, forming lines, borders, scrolls, but then also just hidden in here, all kinds of different little bits of imagery and symbology. So you've got, the moon here in the center, you've got a sword sticking out over here, the arrow, chain and a key, a rose, and really no explanation behind these. It's just kind of a mystery for you to, to crack and dig into as you go into the cards. But this is really just kind of the beginning. So as you turn over the sides, you've got Contraband playing cards, produced by Theory11, designed in the UK, and it says, "Aut viam inveniam aut faciam." Not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but that's a Latin saying which means I will either find a way or make one. So it was most famously uttered by Hannibal as he crossed the Alps to invade Rome on the back of elephants. So interesting, fun little fact there. And then Olde Studios on the side. Exactly the same thing printed on the other side and then surrounded by tons of that gold and black foil. Bottom has your ad copy for Theory11 as well as a Circa Trova motto there. And then on the top, you've got more black and gold foiling line work done to make this really beautiful design. Back's going to be the back design of the cards. I'll look in more detail at the elements here as we get inside, but the back design here is going to be done in that beautifully embossed and golden black foil to give it even more pop. And then you get a custom tuck seal that is specific to the Contraband playing cards. You can see up here at the top, it says Contraband USA. And then Circa Trova Contraband with an extra little square design in the center. So a really beautiful, interesting, glossy tuck seal there. Design continues on the inner flap, and you can even see here in that foiling kind of the outline or the shadow of a skull there in the center, just as you open it up. Extra little designs of chains on the flaps here. And then, as you often get with Theory11 decks, you have printing all down the center, really beautifully done with that black foil, with that repeating pattern, kind of a compass rose in the Theory11. So really nice tuck case. Doesn't stop there though, continues with the cards themselves. So let's start with the back design. And here it is. So unlike the gold foiled back design you saw on the tuck case, you now have this all done in black and white. It's a beautiful, intricate, two-way back design. Features two globes as kind of the central features here. And then they are surrounded again by just tons of symbols, mysterious all the way around. So you've got the sun and the moon, you've got the pips over here, you have a compass rose, just all kinds, crowns, swords, arrows, all sorts of details. And the longer you look at this, the more you'll find. Now you've got a repeat over here of in those lines over there, kind of that skull or the face popping out, adding just a little bit more mystery. And then the banners that say Contraband on either side. So really beautiful black and white, a ton going on, but it's done in a way that I think forms a really beautiful cohesive design at the end of the day, despite how much detail goes into it. Just a ton of work went into this. You have that classic thin white poker border all the way around, just a really beautiful back design through and through. So there is the back design, but what about extra cards that you get? So you do get 4 of those, starting with the 2 jokers. So they are full art, completely borderless jokers, and all done completely in gold metallic inks. They are identical, feature a compass rose in the center with Contraband on one banner, and then Circa Trova on the other one. And then you have just sort of this circular pattern here with the chain and the 4 suits, and then kind of a map in the background with different locations marked. Not really much of an explanation, but you can make out, you know, the USA over here and then Eurasia over here. So it is kind of a map of the Earth, but with different locations mapped out with either swords or crowns or ships. So really interesting, adding more to the mystery, more to dig into, and just kind of wonder what is going on with this Joker. So you got the Joker here, and then some ad copy down here at the bottom as well. So there's your 2 Jokers. You also do get a double backer gaff card, and then 1 ad card, again done borderless and with that gold foil. That same repeating pattern we saw on the interior of the tuck case here. So there is the ad card. And then we get to the cards. It is a 100% custom deck, so every single card was designed completely from scratch, and you can see the amount of work right off the bat with the Ace of Spades. So the Ace of Spades features the large spade pip in the middle, but then has tons of just intricate artwork. And I mean, you can go over this with a magnifying glass and find all sorts of different details. So at the top here, it says released item, recall number 11, kind of mysterious text there. Carpe Omnia, which is Latin for seize everything. And then Contraband, and then Odysseus Fortuna Iuvat, which means fortune favors the bold. Another smaller spade pip in the middle. And then you have this sort of background design here. Far as I can tell, this is kind of a desert scene that's going on in the back. So really interesting, kind of mysterious. And then the top over here is flanked by the 2 mermaids. So just tons of detail, and kind of you're left to make your own story out of what's going on with Ace. Really interesting. It says made in the United States of America, and then has a Contraband stamp there on the side. Custom pips and indices, kind of a little bit smaller than normal. And then as you go to the number cards, also using kind of custom pips here. So there's a slight fade in this, and you can see it's really kind of made up of lines and dots, but it gives sort of the effect that it fades into a lighter gray in the center, which gives a little bit of extra shape and depth to the pips, which I think is really interesting. So that continues through with the numbers, which are a pretty standard layout, but just sort of smaller pips on there. And then you get to the court cards. So the court cards are mostly black and white looking. There's little tiny pops of gold metallic ink on the black court cards, but they are full custom, really interesting expressive faces, especially that King of Spades over there. And then extra little bits to kind of make these really custom. For a black and white court card, I think really interestingly done. I think some may find these to be kind of a bland or a boring court cards, but I think that for a black and white one, they really, really did pull it off. Did a great job with these court cards. I think these always make me smile when I look at them. I think just really nicely done there. And then here are your red cards. So the Ace of Spades is not the only custom ace. All 4 of them are going to be custom, and they're going to feature all different designs. So just a couple of quick hits on this one. This one features a dragon and a crown at the top, and kind of protecting this gate or almost like a treasure here. You got swords and axes. So another really mysterious scene that you kind of add to the lore of the Contraband deck. And then here are your number cards, again, kind of getting that fading into the center with a lighter color, almost fading to pink. And then here are your red quartz. So they add actually a little bit more color than the black quartz because you've got that light red or almost pink color that's accenting some of the quartz. And then back to the black quartz, now featuring more of the gold. Interesting, Jack of Clubs is holding a bow and arrow there. A little bit of an atypical choice for a weapon. And then back to your club courts, or club number cards rather. Here is your Ace of Clubs. Another interesting scene to look at here. So you got the woman here looking over almost like a clock. You got the bunch of arrows over here, a book over on the other side, a couple of guys smoking pipes at the bottom. So more again to unpack and look into and add to this mystery. And then here are your heart courts. Really interesting. Don't know how it fits into the story, but the King of Hearts here looks a whole lot younger than your typical King court card. It's another interesting extra little mystery to add to the pile. And then down through your hearts, and then finishing with, yes, again, another custom ace. And this one features the Gates of Heaven at the top, a Jack court sitting there in the center, and then you've got the snake, the apple. So this one kind of looks like it's going after like Christian symbology. You have the cup at the bottom. So a lot of things that you might find in Christian mythology, whether it be the apple from the Garden of Eden, the Gates of Heaven, or the cup there, or the snake that was also from the Garden of Eden. So another really interesting Ace of Hearts there. As far as handling, they handle really nicely. It's USB-CC, so their fans, everything are going to work really well. Those thin borders really help to highlight some of that detail that goes into them. What would I use the deck for? It really pulls off the idea of being for pretty much anything you want. It handles well enough to be used for cardistry. The courts and number cards are all readable enough to keep this as a deck that you're going to use for, gameplay. But it also has the artwork and the kind of just at the edge of understanding story that really keeps this interesting as an art deck as well. What I really find most fascinating about this is I can stare at this. I've gone over it like with a magnifying glass, just trying to pull out different details. And it feels like there's a story in there you should be able to grasp, but it just stays beyond your understanding, which I think is really the beauty and the fascinating part of this deck and what they've really been able to pull off that's really magical. So that is it. That is Contraband, my favorite Theory 11 deck. Hope you enjoyed. Let me know if there's other decks you want to see. I want to give a shout out and a thank you to Mike0604 who sent me this deck as a thank you. So really appreciate that. Quickly risen to become one of my favorite decks. So subscribe for more deck reviews, more unboxings. Let me know what else you want to see, and I will see you for the next one.